It's Friday, another day. Um, Happy to be back here again with another presentation. This time, our 172nd edition here of our broadcast in the Issues Room. We're back here, and it's a beautiful day. We like to welcome all of you this weekend. We're pushing away July. We're about to enter August. I believe this is the last Friday in the month of July. No better place to be than in the issues room with our next broadcast, as I said, the 172nd. After many, many months of these broadcasts, we've reached the 172nd and still counting. We'd like to welcome you, our viewers and listeners, wherever you are, all over the world, to this broadcast. We say thank you for being committed to our platform, coming into the issues room. This is where the issues are discussed, the issues that are relative or related to Liberia, the issues related to the continent of Africa, the issues related to the black community in the diaspora. We say thank you for being there with us over the years, and we cannot give you anything but just to say thank you. Thank you for your viewership. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for coming here night in and night out once we come in the studio. This evening conversation will be a good one, of course. You've seen the flyer. We are featuring Dr. Telford Ammons, who is the standard bearer for the Greater Action Party. In fact, he will tell us where the party stands and where is he with regards to the presidency, because he was here before to tell us that he was a potential candidate. So we'll have that conversation. We'll also ask him about the opposition. Where is the opposition? And he being a part of the opposition, what does he make up of the opposition and their stance right now as we glide toward the elections? We'll talk about the overall electoral process and how he sees it from his perspective, and probably the state of affairs in the country since he was just there the other day. Again, Virgil Moyu, thank you for being number one. We say thank you to Shaki McCaffrey. Good to see you. Uh, we're always happy that you guys can make it here with us tonight. Let me join my colleague Alphonso Yeno, who's um, a little dark tonight. Don't know what the lighting is, but overall, we all know it's Alfonso. I guess since he did his shaving and the haircut, he tried to hide. Welcome, my man.
Yeah. Hi, Volcano. Good to be here. Hey, guys. Thank you for joining. And as always, on the issues room, as Volcano said, it's always interesting, thought provoking, intelligent conversation. No screaming, no yelling, no partisan politics, but just real the issues affecting our country and our people. So, welcome. As Volcano will always say, share the link, invite people to join us. We have Dr. Amos, so it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Indeed, it will be. We're hoping that Moses will join us momentarily. Again, like we say, that this stuff is a commitment. There are times when we really can make it, but we have to force it because we started something to enlighten Liberian people, not just about this election, but just the overall, you know, future of the country, the overall well-being of the country. Where is this country going with regards to the current dispensation? Where is it going if even these candidates, 20 people who are vying for the presidency, where would it take it? That's why we continue to come here and talk about these things. So, like you said, no partisanship, no relationship to any politician. Of course, we open our corridors to everyone to come here and let's talk about our country. I was thinking to myself, and I said, Liberia is about the greed, it's about the self,
Hmm.
and you can see it in the elections and the campaigning, even though it hasn't started, but behind the scene campaigning, people are using bargaining chip, not
Yes.
for the country, but for themselves. What
Yep.
in it for me?
Yep.
In it for me. And it scares me. It scares me even with the opposition bloc. Because the ruling party kind of hoarded money over the 5.5 years printed money, kept it, got some new money, kept it, and now we see this money are all over the place being, passed on, pay for play rather, or come support me. Where is Liberia in all of this, Alfonso?
So you're right. You're right. A lot of our politicians are not in it for the country, because if they were in it for the country, I mean, we just celebrated 176 years of independence. If they were in it for the country, we would be better off today, because it's about service, it's about sacrifice, it's about vision, and it's about development, which means really bringing the people along and addressing their needs and their aspirations, and that hasn't happened. The other day I was reading that St. John River Bridge is undermined, and it could break. And if it breaks, that means Grand Basser, River Says, and the rest of the people on that side are basically cut off from the rest of the country, at least Monrovia. We also just saw the bridge go into bombing break, and it somehow patched, did a patch. But before that, we knew that there were, Western cluster trucks running over that bridge that it shouldn't be. We've also seen legislators just giving us a $60,000 every 6 months for development and claiming it. As you said, we see leading, I mean, the ruling political party people going around and dishing money to people to vote for them. When in fact, for 6 years, they didn't feed the people. They didn't provide cleaners. There's $30,000 in the budget for mental health. We're calling the people Zogos and not treating them. So yes, it has never been, and even now, it's most likely not about the country and the people. It's about the politicians, because when they get in power, they can take anything they want to take for themselves, and that's sad.
And just before we bring Dr. Amazon, because he's already here with us, you talked about the 176th anniversary of our country, the independence, and of course, Dr. Manneh Sumo wrote something that will be featuring tonight. But one of the iconic landmark that always commemorates that day is the Centennial Pavilion. Before you and I were born, the Centennial Pavilion remains the same structure.
Today,
Presidents have come and gotten richer than the country, if I would put it that way, and they have the mind to go over there and celebrate and get swooned. And the building was built for, I don't know, that Barclay or that Totman or who built it, but it was just built for a small group of people. So
yes,
there the building is obsolete in terms of everything. And
absolutely.
yet this president who took monies to build 49 condominiums didn't think that the building would be needed. And you bring foreign presidents in that same building,
Hmm.
that building can hold quite 2,000 3,000 people. And I mean, it's a shame, it's embarrassing that every time these leaders come to Liberia, the only place they rush with them is to the Centennial Pavilion. No parking space. There's nothing about the Centennial Pavilion. When the
No.
Centennial Pavilion was built, it was probably built for few cars to park on
Hmm.
the side of the street there. Today,
Yep.
in this modern day and age, and that building, I'm sure it doesn't have no technology advancement with, to enhance it, like retrofitted with Wi-Fi, state of the art. I don't even think the bathrooms even have running water. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking aloud to myself. And
Hmm.
this is where this president is proud to go, and the next president will be proud to go, and the presidents and presidents and presidents. But you can take money to build mansions for yourself.
Yes.
What a shame.
What a shame. And the centennial, it was to celebrate Liberia's 100th independence anniversary. We just celebrated on July 26th, 176.
And we're 14 years away from 200 years.
Yes. So it was built seven, 76 years ago. Imagine the population growth. Imagine, the development and whatever that should have taken place. So yes, you're right. The Centennial Pavilion, in terms of capacity, is not where really we can take a huge crowd. But my question is, did they even intend to take a huge crowd there in the first place? or was it just a celebration for the elites, which is what has been happening? The July 26th, I posted something on Facebook recently, and I borrowed from an American who wrote, "What to the slave is the 4th of July," and I kind of wrote something along those lines. What to the Zogo? What to the unemployed, or even what to the civil servant who's working is not getting paid? It's really the 26th of July in Liberia. Nothing. It's meaningless. It's just for a group of people, the elites going to celebrate and drink wines and do whatever, and the people are not included in the process. What happened in Lofa? How was it celebrated there? What happened in Grand Jita? Was it celebrated? How was it celebrated? We don't. Of course, it's not celebrated there. It's only celebrated in Monrovia for the big shots. So, but throughout the year, the people, the citizens, are left out of the process. The money goes to building the condominiums, as you said. The money goes to legislators who take the money and build universities in their own names and build schools or whatever in their own names as campaign. Basically, that's what it is. And then come up, Liberian people money by the way, and pretend as if they're doing the people a favor when the money should have been going in the first place to building schools, to building clinics, to cleaning drainages, to healthcare, to mental health, to fighting crime, etc. and etc. So
Thank
yes,
you.
we're in a
Thank you,
difficult
Alphonso.
situation.
Let's
Yeah.
bring in our guest tonight, Dr. Telford Ammons, the standard bearer of the Greater Action Party of Liberia. Good evening, welcome. You're looking all sharp, spiffy, like the bookman says, rejuvenated since you left from Liberia, eating dumbo and beating dumbo. Welcome here, man. Listen, good to see you. We couldn't do otherwise than to have you here because we saw we talked to you the last time when you were here and the big vision and plans you have for the country, hiring more than 300,000 people every month, you know, uh, and all of a sudden we see that we looked at the list and you were not among the 20 people, so we thought to bring you here to talk to our audience tonight. But anyway, just to say welcome, how you feel being back here in the country and in the issues room tonight?
Well, thank you, Alfonso and Volcano. Thank you so much for being on your show. And I thank God for the opportunity of being here. If you don't mind, I would like to read a one pager to you, and it will be short and sweet. May I?
Go ahead.
Good evening, citizens of Liberia and those in the diaspora. Greetings. I recently spent 9 months in Liberia and found many things both helpful and needed. For example, the current population is in dire need of many things, and therefore the need of these things are based upon the expertise of others that are conscientious and patriotic to Liberia. Also, along with my observation, the current government is trying their best, but the managers do not recognize Liberians are restless and need a different kind of help from the present ones now being advocated. Restless people are capable of doing things to little regret. Therefore, it is prudent to remember Liberia does not need war, but growth and better economic conditions like jobs creation for income in order to pay their own bills. If the current real government understands this and realizes it has not done all it can to deliver the goods that are so desperately needed, then as loving Liberians themselves should conclude and step aside and let those who are more capable deliver better opportunities for the Liberian people. There's no shame in stepping aside, and if this is done, they should be protected from any reprisals. If those already on the ballot running for president as NEC, that is the National Election Commission, along with myself, to kindly put on the ballot the word other then Liberians could express their satisfaction or dissatisfaction about who they want, even apart from those listed on the ballot and apart from Weah, Cummings, and Boycott. Perhaps then Liberians could find a better opportunity for leadership. When they have spoken via ballot, whomever that person is, I pray that together we put our arms around that leader and move Liberia further. God bless Liberia.
Thank you. Thank you. Um, Let me bring in Moses Sandy, who just came in. But Dr. Amons, let me allow Alfonso to go first with the first question, and we'll start this conversation tonight.
So, Dr. Amos, welcome again. Good
Thank
to
you.
see you. Well, you were here before, and we've been following you, by the way. So we saw you beating the dumb boy, so that was good. Oh, did you bring some dumb boy? No, sorry, kidding. But as Volcano said, you're not one of the 20 presidential candidates. We like to know, and I'm sure that the viewing public likes to know why are you not? Because the idea was you going, you registered, and you're going to be one of the presidential candidates. Why not? Why aren't you?
Well, as you already know, that in order for a uh, presidential hopeful rather, to be listed on the listing for NEC, you have to have your vice president with you. Now, why I had all of my requirements met, unfortunately, the vice president did not meet those requirements on a timely basis, and therefore, because of that, unfortunately, I had to step aside in order for the process to continue. Do I regret it? Yes, I do immensely. Were some of those missteps handled correctly? No, they were not. But I take full responsibility to say that had I been more stringent in making sure that those requirements were met, perhaps we would have had a different outcome today.
What are those requirements that were not met?
Well, for example, the vice president should also make or sure that the taxes were adequately paid, and that was the main thing that happened here. That taxes were not paid adequately, and before we knew it, it was too late.
What? Who was the vice president?
I would prefer to keep that to myself because I'm not here to make news of the person's inadequacy. But the problem is that we should have vetted that person better than we did, in order for that particular situation not to occur.
All right, I don't want to hawk the show, so I'll pass it on to my colleagues.
Yeah.
But
So the
safe
question.
to say that your person you pick basically did not meet their tax requirements. So basically, they were not paying taxes as should have paid to government.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So quickly, Doc, do you see that as a closure on the window of opportunity you had? Because if you're not in this race, that's 6 years on the stretch. You hear
Yeah.
the story with Ambassador Boyka being an old man and all of that. Not to say that we're going to say you're an old man, but the window of opportunity, do you see that close, or you will still look toward 2029?
Let's put things in perspective here. There are many things that could happen if NEC were to give that window of opportunity a better chance or a second look. For example, on the ballot itself, does it have the place a slot there for others? Because obviously that could be a write-in. And if someone wanted me or you or anyone else to run as president, they could voice their opinion at that particular, rather in that particular space. So that's something of an opportunity that the NEC itself could look into. And I believe that all of those running for office could also point out to NEC that this is something that needs to be involved within because it is part of being involvement in the democracy. The people must have a voice. The people must have a vote. Now, back to the question: what do I see as an opportunity for myself? I think, yes, I will be older in another 6 years. Some people have talked about the midterm, which is 3 years from now. That we give that a look. But at the same token, 6 years will come and go very fast. But I will be in the mix of things. I will be in Liberia, taking care of other types of opportunity, including farming.
Before Moses coming, let me ask you then, what happens to the Greater Action Party? Because there's a tendency for the standard bearer to be the bearer of the party, to be the face of the party, to be the driving force of the party. Now that Dr. Telford Amos is not given the opportunity to run in these elections, is this party going to be viable in the next 6 years, or are you going to wait till 2029 again to find somebody who didn't pay the tax? Then we'll go back to square one.
Well, let me also point out that paying taxes should be very important to each and every one of us. Some people have the money to pay, and so they do. Others they have that as a shortcoming. So uh, taxation in Liberia is negligible, to say to say the least, and meaning that some people pay and some people don't, but the system that we have may or may not take into consideration what else can you do should you not have the money. And of course, my government would have provided a safety net for those type of things if they were to happen. However, the question is, uh, does the party continue to run without a standard bearer? I am the standard bearer, and I will be there working towards making sure that those who are parts and part of our party, uh, parts and parts of our party will be able to present themselves, and one of them being a senator and three representatives, I believe we have on the party, uh, so that they will run effectively and efficiently without any type of qualms. But I will be there campaigning for them. One of the senators, Mr. Shogbe from Bond County, and another that I can remember, Mr. Taylor from District, I believe, 2 in Todi, and another Koki, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, from also from Bond County as a representative. But the notwithstanding is that we must be able to make sure that Greater Action Party remains a viable party in Liberia so that we can move forward, because as people see what is it that we're going to do, and as people see our platform and wanting to be a part of it, and let me just point out that most of the time, whenever I went and spoke to a group of people, 100 or 200 people, 99% after the audit had been done, 99% of them said, yes, we'll go with the Action Party. Now, I also want to point out, because of the lack of funding that we had, we did not get the opportunity to go throughout the entire country. But hopefully the next time around, we will be able to do that.
Let me just throw this in for Thomas Awaji, then Moses comes in. Thomas is asking that now you're not a candidate or a presidential, hopeful in a race. What will you do? Will you throw your support to any of the other candidates or even the ruling party?
Well, we did have two parties that we were talking with. We don't know what their outcome is. But let me just say this to everyone. Number one, the most majority of the people in Liberia that I know of are feeling that the we are government have not delivered as it should. That doesn't mean they committed a crime. It just means that they were unable to deliver as the expectation of Liberians have risen. Notwithstanding, if I say that if they cannot deliver, then they need to step aside so that those who are able to deliver on behalf of the Liberian people can. Now, you mentioned earlier about the age status of Mr. Buckeye. I don't think age should be a limitation. I think what it ought to be is something that has to be considered individually by that person to say, am I agile enough to run a nation of 5 plus million people, or and if not, should I step aside? That's one part of the equation. The other part of the equation was and still is the association with Alexander Combs, that it seems to have been a baggage for Buckeye, simply because of
You
his
mean
affiliation.
Jeremiah Coon.
Jeremiah Combs, excuse me, Jeremiah Combs, that would have been a baggage for Buckeye simply because of his association with Prince Johnson. Now, Prince Johnson, when you talk to him, and I haven't personally talked to him, but I've heard him speak, seems to have some type of remorsefulness about what he has done. So that's a whole different subject that would have to be dealt with. But I think that those who have patriotism towards Liberia can serve Liberia better. Now, all people, all human beings have some type of negatives, and we all not to downplay them, but at the same token, is that we must take into consideration that anyone that has a baggage with them has to be understood. What does it represent? What are these baggages are? What would they be a hindrance or not? And that's something that they have to deal with, and the Liberian people will have to speak of. Now, Mr. Cummings, on the other hand, seems to be the type of a person that I believe would have the fortitude to move Liberia forward. His only problem is that he has not been able to get traction, even when Miss Charlene Brumskin has come in. So they need to go back in and see why is it that they are not having that type of attraction they should have. Now, if we were talking and they came to me and asked me, what do I see, I will be able to express myself to them. However, that's what is happening right now. So those are the three major players. We was getting ready to present ourselves as the alternative. But since we're no longer in the game, then as you ask, where would I place my loyalty? I will place my loyalty in with the person who talks to me and can assure me that they want to lead Liberia, as if I were running and ruling, that they would do the same.
What's this?
Yeah. Dr. Armand,
Yes.
it's a pleasure getting to meet you the first time. I heard the name many times. I'm sure sometimes you follow our podcast. You know, we come here, we make all the forms. Dr. Amos is beating Dumbo. So it's a pleasure meeting you, sir.
Thank you.
This is not your first time seeing Dr. Amos. You've been
No,
here.
we never met before. When y'all had a show, I was out.
He was Moses
Yeah.
didn't come when we did the
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
That's correct.
Yeah, but look, Dad, I really want to grill you this evening, and
Go right ahead.
yes, I would like to begin from the statement which you made that has to do with your running mate.
Hmm.
Uh, the first question I would like to put to you, as part of the requirements for wanting to be president or be a presidential candidate, were you ever privileged to review that list of requirements before submitting your application?
Well, no, no. Let's back up a little bit. The requirement
Yeah,
for
from the
for
NEC.
NEC
The NEC. Yeah,
NEC
yeah.
says that a person must be domiciled, a person must have the tax clearance,
Hmm.
and the person must have $1,500 to pay.
Okay,
So $1,500.
okay.
Now, the money was not the problem for the
No,
registration.
no, Dad, I'm always doing one at a time. I tell you, I really want to grill you.
Go ahead.
Uh, I asked this question. Did you knew did you in any way I mean, were you in any way aware of these requirements prior to the submission of your application?
No, I was not.
Were you not privileged to review the list of requirements before?
I depended on my handlers to tell me what the requirements were. And
Okay.
from what I have just
So,
stated,
so
listen,
that
so,
it seems that you already shot yourself in the legs. Yeah.
no, listen.
And
Now,
this is
let me finish. Let
let
me
me
finish.
complete.
Let me finish.
Okay,
Let
go
me
ahead.
finish.
Hey,
All
Yeah.
right.
it's free flight. Let him.
So what happened is that you said from the outset that I know what the
Yeah. Were you
requirements were.
aware? Were you aware? Yeah.
Okay. So obviously no one is aware of what the requirements are from NEC until you read them. So the question is, at what time did I read the requirements by NEC? After I was told that these were the requirements, after those things were understood, we began to vet different people, and we did. And one of the persons who was vetted stated after the fact that he had a problem with his taxes. And so what I said to that person is we would have to get it done. If we have X amount of money to pay for your taxes, we needed to know how much that amount was. Now, if there was no consistent and confirmation of what the amount was, then we could not make budget available for in unknown. So therefore, when that was brought to my attention, I suggested that we pay the taxes, but needed to know what the full amount was. And when we did not could get a concrete answer, the person decided that they needed to walk, and that flabbergasted me because again, when you have these type of a situation on your hands, you have to know what is it that needs to be paid. So let's say, for example, that he
So,
owed
yeah,
that he
that
owed. Let's say, for example, that he owed 15,000, but he tells me it's $3,000, and we pay $3,000 of the amount. Then that means we're going to be owing $12,000. If we had not made available for 12,000,
so
more
that
thousand, I would not have
yeah.
the money.
Thank you for the explanation, Dad. Let's come back to the issue. Yeah, I'm asking you these difficult questions.
It's not difficult.
No, allow me to complete my thoughts. I'm
Right.
asking you these difficult questions
Okay.
because when we speak of the presidency,
Hmm.
it comes with significant responsibility.
Absolutely.
Anyone wanting to be president has to be meticulous. If you put in place a vetting committee for someone that will run with you as VP or vice presidential candidate, and you telling us you went almost to the time of submission before you realize that somebody did not meet some criteria, that draw for me. Honestly, it draws your leadership ability into question because the presidency ain't no joke. If somebody is going to run from the office of president, now if we're going to do a comparison between you and George Weah, you want to come and replace George Weah, you should be ahead of the game. And for you to tell me now your vetting crew or your vetting team dropped the ball, then the question that comes, where were you? Because this
Okay.
is a very critical decision.
So let me say this.
Yeah.
As president,
Hmm.
you have people who are from time to time will vet, will advise, or will give opinion.
Hmm.
And all of the time, that doesn't mean any of those three will be correct. So therefore, you will have someone else, and that's why some people have what they call kitchen cabinet to look over those type of things.
Okay.
Did we have any kitchen cabinet? No. But the fact of the matter is this: as I said from the offset, the responsibility lies with me. If someone made drop the ball, then it is my responsibility to say we dropped the ball. You didn't hear me come out to accuse anyone that it dropped the ball because again, that's human frailty. Some things can happen, but in a position as president, you can go back and recover. In this situation, we could not because of the time frame that we had.
Okay.
We had the opportunity to know about the requirements of a vice president on the 22nd of June,
Okay.
and we had a package over there awaiting us on the 12th of June. Were we giving full a light by the 12th of June?
Notification.
Some people were, some people were not. So
So
what happened is that we got the information on the 12th of 22nd of June. It was a short period of time. We had talked about many people being the vice president, but we did not want to do anything that will upset Neg by going around, even if we did it overtly or not, begin to interview people as vice president. So we had a short period of time. Notwithstanding short period of time or not, we came to the brim, and we could not make the things happen, and so I step aside. Now, if anyone has a problem with that, I'd like to apologize and say I'm sorry because of dashed hope. But uh, in this case, I learned a lesson. You cannot trust people to do everything. You have to have your hands on the ball to make sure that things happen.
okay, and that what you just narrated, I know my colleagues here will agree with me. And, it just reminded me of the recent confirmation hearing at the Liberian Senate when three individuals, nominated by Mr. Weir, appeared. They were nominated to go as commissioners to the LACC, the Anti-Corruption Commission.
Mhm.
And as part of the confirmation hearing process, each of them needed to declare their assets before appearing before the committee. And when they got to the committee, they were all in violation of the law. So it's like you appearing before the commission, the NEC, that hey, here's the list for my vice president, or here's the list of my candidates. It's like you're applying for a job, you do not know the job requirements, what the employers want, and you just show up. And somebody will be wondering, but does he really know what he wants? So it's the same old thing that happened to those guys who the law called that, hey, you must be first in good financial standing, or you must declare your assets, and they went there to work for a commission, an integrity institution, when they themselves, were in violation of the very law that created a commission. It's a similar thing with you. Uh, and I know with him, people do make mistakes. We take that, but I hope in the future, running for the office of president, it comes with significant responsibility. Significant
Now,
responsibility.
may I point out to you that there is
Yeah,
a dissimilarity. It is not similar. The
there is.
dissimilarity, well, yeah, there is a dissimilarity because you stated that they went before the Senate. We did
Hmm.
not go before NEC. I made a decision before
Oh, you
that
decided?
action was,
Okay.
yeah, that action was taken. So
Okay.
no one presented themselves. I, I wouldn't be foolish enough to go before NEC and say, "Oh my, excuse me, my vice president doesn't
Okay.
have
Okay.
its taxes straight." No, I
Okay.
made a decision. If those taxes are not haven't been satisfied, and I don't know the numbers, and now it is closing time, you screw me up. But I am not going to move forward on this type of a flimsiness and say that I'm running for president of Liberia, but here my vice president over here doesn't have all his requirements. So y'all please help me. That bullshit. Okay. So what I would do, I would
Yeah,
make the decision before we go in front of that forum
but
Okay.
to make sure that doesn't even appear. So I step back without even going forward.
so
Okay.
let me ask you
And
most of what I
Avocado,
want.
quickly, let me just applaud him for that.
Okay, because I
Uh,
wanted to ask him.
yeah, let me just applaud you to say thanks for that decision. because sometimes, like you said, we all human beings. So when you correct the problem yourself, that's laudable. And I think that's a clarification that you have provided, because it sounded like you were already before the commission, right, guys? And the people said, "Oh well, you didn't meet this requirement." So thank you for that. Go
So,
ahead,
so
Volcano.
my question now, Dr. Amos, was the door closed at that point? Wouldn't you have been like Alexander Cummings going around trying to find vice president from one place to the next? You didn't have the opportunity to do that. You could
I
have.
came down. I came down with three names. We came
Okay.
down with three names, and the first one was the one that we thought was thoroughly vetted. I believe that we were thoroughly vetted until the last minute when they said, "Oh, uh, my tax is not completely
So there was
paid."
no plan B. You had three names. So one of the most vetted is the one that let you down. What happened to the other two?
So the other two we went because the timing was so short.
Yeah.
It was just fruitless to even proceed. So
Okay.
we just decided not to even move forward.
So how
You
did
know,
how did the party take this? Because you established a political
they did not did
institution.
not they the party did not take it lying down. They
They were
themselves
angry with you,
uh,
eh?
was sad. It was sad, and it hit me too that in order for us to move forward, a decision has to be made.
Okay.
And when that decision is made, you stick with your decision and you go on. And yeah, a lot of people were angry because, again, as I said, hopes were dashed. But at the same token, I think it was better to make the decision now because
Yeah.
small sheen is better than big sheen. So
Do you see credibility as a factor in this case now with Dr. Amos coming back to say, oh, y'all forget it last time. I'm here again and I think we'll get it right. Do you see that as a factor? Because you know how Liberian people.
well, let me put it this way. I think the Liberian people, as did Moses, will applaud us for making decisions on the fly that would effectuate them if we were not supposed to proceed. Should we have had a faulty type of premise? And let me explain what I mean by that. Is that if you come to a conclusion that the thing that you're trying to push forward is wrong or incorrect, then why would you even go ahead and present it? It could be at the United Nations. It could have been at the AU. If you don't have what it takes, then step back and let those who can move forward. And that's how I felt about it. That's why I say I apologize to Liberian people because I will not present something that is going to be in the disinterest. I want to move forward with what is right. So for a whole 6 years, for me, that was a slap in the face for me. But again, I don't know what other agendas may have been, but it happened. Okay, so I have myself personally learned a lesson out of this.
Alfonso?
Yeah, I mean, if I may, I would like to move off the subject of the failure and move on to other things. So, Dr. Amos, you made a few points, and I also did see some comments in the chat. So, I'd like to act on that. One, you said if if okay, you said that if Mr. Weir and his people step aside, or somehow if they're not elected, that there should be no reprisals. I wanted to understand what exactly you mean by
Well, you
reprisals.
know how
Let me
again.
1 second. I have another question.
Okay.
And then this question is from a listener who said, in the process, did you even declare your assets as well? Or what that was that a requirement for presidential candidates to declare their assets? And if so, do you declare your assets? And then the third question, again from a listener, was you talk about how you didn't have enough money and so you didn't go around the country. So his question was, how was your campaign being financed? Who's financing your campaign? So three key questions. What do you mean by reprisals? Have you declared your assets, and who was financing your campaign?
Well, let me put it this way to everyone. Reprisal is, in my opinion, is something that you have that someone else is going to be hit by, or they are going to be um, taken advantage or disadvantage of, but whatever that is that would be done to that person, penalty, jailhouse, or whatever the case might be, would be fall under reprisals. But what I'm saying is this: is that if you want to move a nation forward, and you have had a sitting government that for correctly or incorrectly did X, Y, and Z, uh, to me, would not be the time to say, "Oh, we'll jail you," or we would, you know, do something to you that is going to be worse than what had been anticipated. I think in order for a small nation such as ours, 5 million people, even if someone did misappropriation, I said the last time we asked them to put the money back, and secondly, we'll see if there can be any type of working relationship so that wherever they have, that money can be repaid back to the Liberian people. To me, working cooperatively with a person who has done wrong is better than to have them castigated, and so that they will lose out on their future simply because of the wrongdoings that were committed. We want to be able to work with the Prince Johnsons of the world, and we want to work with ex-presidents who may have done something that they should not done, or anybody else for that matter, who have misappropriated government money. We want to work with them. So the first thing isn't punishment. The first thing is working together so those things can be replaced. Now that's on the reprisal side. The second thing is that did I declare my asset? Of course I did. I declared my asset, and I did also clear my taxes that were paid in full for 5 years. So those things were done. So I didn't have a problem on my end per se. But again, when I am running with a person and we have to go in and present our paperwork together simultaneously, then I also am responsible for the other person that I pick as vice president. The other thing is that who financed my campaign? Well, many small donors in the United States help us with loans and with grants and other things. Just a giveaway. But out of myself, my own earnings, I pay about $250,000 out of my pocket to finance the campaign.
So let me just piggyback on that question that Alfonso asked you in the statement you made. Dr. Dr. Amos, you're aware of the U.S. criminal justice system, right? Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am.
Why do you think criminals are punished? Take, for example, if Moses Sene hypothetically defrauded the U.S. government of thousands of dollars, Moses Sene is held liable, Moses Sene is made to restitute, and Moses Sene is also, if the crime elevates to the level of felony, Moses Sene is also made to serve jail time. Why you think that happens?
Well, I know where you're going with this, meaning that why am I saying that I would not punish these people? I didn't say anything, but
Absolutely,
I
yeah.
didn't say anything about not punishing anybody. I said that
No,
the first thing,
what I heard you say was that well, we don't want any reprisal against people. We will ask people to restitute. We'll work out a deed that will help people to put by what it took, right?
and I
So
also
then
said
my
that was,
direct question to you,
and that was,
why
it,
just a moment, my
okay, go
direct
ahead.
question to you, why in the criminal justice system, when people will commit crime, if, for example, if someone stole, that person is made to restitute and the person is also made to serve jail time. Why?
That's a
That's my
very good
question
question.
to you.
That's a
Yeah.
very good question. Now, if you heard me, I said that the first thing we would do is to make sure that there isn't any reprisal. Now, remember, I'm the president.
Yes.
At that time, I will be if I have been in the ring and won. But the Justice Department is the one, or a citizen is the one who can press charges. You know, so if you leave it up to the Justice Department to do the work, then charges can be pressed. I didn't say at all at any time that I will overrule the Justice Department so that they won't bring charges. So when they bring the charges, then at that particular time we will look into it and investigate the extent or the damage that had been done, and then go from there. I can't make any decisions right now because that's not where we are. But in hindsight, if that was the case, then something would have to be done, or some punishment has to be levied in order so that people would know that these are not things that they need to do. I can't
But
overrule
but but Dr. Amos, it will be your policy that you work with people,
first.
get them to pay back. Don't
First,
so your policy will be anybody, for example, who stole money from the government or who committed any other crime. What you would do is to work with them to
To
make
put the money
whatever
back.
restitution. You wouldn't pursue prosecution and accountability in terms of going through the court system and holding them accountable. You would rather just work with them and see if they can pay it back. That's the first thing you will do.
right, correct.
Okay.
Because,
I mean, I don't want to hold up stuff volcano
Yeah.
back to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
I
so
want
so
a
so
clarity.
I just want to move now to the reality of the situation. Dr. Amos, you said you spent 9 months in Liberia. How did you see the country and how did you leave the country?
but as I said in my opening, that the country needs a lot of help. It's like the blind leading the blind, so to speak, because if there are so many things and the appetite that says if you keep my mind, you keep my power, I will still vote for you, and it is still present in the minds of people, then that means that we have a society that there's
Yeah.
something wrong.
Pablo de Saki. Yeah.
Right. So
Mm.
so so it would take time to re-educate people's mind, and then again, it is also not an easy task because 90% of your population is uneducated. So therefore, when someone gave them 1,000 LD, which is equivalent to $5 uh, US, then they're rejoiceful because they haven't had that kind of money in quite a while. So therefore, they will go ahead and sell their votes, and they need to understand that that is not what needs to happen. Our party did most of our work trying to change the minds of people, letting them to understand that you cannot sell your birthright for a vote because we sold our brothers and sisters for mirrors and smoke fish. We sold our nation for little or nothing. And now we're looking at people selling the mineral resources that we have in the country for little or nothing. We need a change. We need things to be turned around so that the people who are saying, you kill my mind, you kill my power, still vote for you, would the begin to say, wait a minute, hold up. That my mind you kill, it not go free. That's the reality on the ground that people need to come to. So,
Okay, Amos, let me piggyback a little bit on Volcano's question, which is how
mhm,
you left the country. Let
mhm.
me add to it and say, give us an assessment of the current government and its performance and what the situation in the country is as of
Well, again, I have said before many times that the government, and I said this, I believe in their opinion and their estimation is doing what they think is best. But the expectation of the Liberians people have gotten higher than what their
do you think
contribution
that
is.
doing good is the problem is with the
I
execution?
was about to put it to you. What is your expectation?
Exactly.
Let's leave the
Oh,
Liberian
my
people.
my
What,
expectation
yeah,
is
yeah.
my
Because
expectation is
you,
very
you,
high
you were
because
you were coming in as a presidential
I
candidate.
want to see Liberia turn around. I want to see where instead of having $3 billion in revenue, to have 30 to $100 billion in revenue, and there's a
Come
way to
here
go about
again with
doing
the
it.
plenty of money thing.
Huh?
I say you come here again with a PP money talk. Oh.
You know, I'm an accountant, so
Oh, but
I'm a
look,
businessman too.
No,
So,
no,
but no,
I ain't
no.
continue, Moses.
Listen,
yeah,
listen.
So
The $30 billion can easily be arrived at, because there's a formula to follow to do it. For
okay.
example, money does increase and double every 7 years. So if you put money in the bank where the interest rate is comparable, and and that same money, whether it's 700 or 7 million, it can double. But that's a different horse of a different color. The thing is, how did I leave the people with the type of expectation that they have? I left them wanting, because Liberians want more, but they just don't know how to go about it. So this mindset that have been developed, that number one, stealing from other people; number two, lying to get something; number three, misappropriation; number four, bribery. Those elements are things that does not promote the type of society that we need to be having. And so there has to be a lot of re-education to let people understand, if we continue to go down this path, you'll be worse off than what you are right now. I can say emphatically that if Mr. Weah was re-elected and he does not have the type of agenda that has met the expectation of the Liberian people, Liberia will continue to spiral out of hand, going backwards again. So that's why I was saying to him, it's not a bad thing, if I were to plead with him to step aside and say, okay, I got president in front of my knee, and forever will, he will go down history book as a person that became president, but he will also go down history book as one of the persons who had the poorest type of development, and the poorest type of economy in the Republic of Liberia. So this is the time right now where he will say, you know what, small machine better than big machine. Let me leave it and let someone else do it. Because you know what, it's not a power farm. This is not my power farm. This is none of our farm. This farm belongs to Liberian people in totality.
so you're saying that
So
we are assertion that he is the best president since 1847.
Well, he
Is
has
that
stated
true?
that. They have been stated that
That's what I'm
he's the
saying.
best
But
president.
isn't that true from your perspective?
No, no. Uh, Let me respectfully say, and I will tell Mr. Weah, you at this particular time have a lot of questions to answer as to say whether you are the best president or not. Because if you go and take your administration and you side it with the Tauber administration, you can't come close to it, because Tauber were not playing around. Okay, so now Trouble didn't have people walking out of the country, businesses walking out of the country, businesses were coming inside the country. Trouble was asked to go to the congressional meeting and spoke to the United States congressional, both House and Senate. You were called to the CIA place in Langley, so there's no comparison. The fact of the matter is this: is that Liberian people deserve more than this. Okay, and I'm not saying anything to make the president look smart. I'm my president too. But facts are facts. Everybody is entitled to their own opinion, but not to their own facts. So he can say from now to doomsday that he's the best president, that he called Menekati. But the fact of the matter is this: we know, and the people are suffering. We know that there has to be a lot more that needs to be done than what meets the eye. That's what is happening right now.
Thank you. Well
okay,
said.
yeah, Volcano, Dr. Amal, let me take you back to your very statement that you delivered. When I came in, I heard you say that the current government is doing its best, but it has bad managers. So when we say the government, we're talking about the individuals, the managers that are running what? Institutions of government. How do you reconcile the bad managers and the current government is doing its best? How do
Well,
you reconcile that?
the fact of the matter is this: is that all of them, from the president on down, that have been elected are managers of the country and the economy.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have bad managers from the president on down, then that means the result that is being produced that will not benefit the Liberian economy entirely, then that's bad management. Okay. I said that specifically not to denigrate anyone, but to point out that when you have a manager that's supposed to be managing something and you have misappropriation or you have bribery going on or you have malfeasance of funding, then that means that the people who are in charge that were appointed to take care of certain things are not doing what they're supposed to do. And therefore, when people see those type of things, especially with money that has been borrowed or loans that have been given, the people are going to have, if it comes from the United States, Great Britain, or Saudi Arabia, they want to have a stake in the game too. So they're going to ask lots of questions. What happened to our money? Because they're going to be looking for interest on their money, or they're going to be asking to go into the diamond mine and take some of the diamonds that we have. And if the diamonds are walking out of the country without having reasonably understood what the price and the cost is for us on the on world market, we are doing ourselves a disservice. So we
Uh,
need to think about what is happening. And again, as I said, if you can't do the job, then you need to get out of the kitchen.
so that
Moses,
John, quickly, let me
Moses,
just
Moses,
yeah.
let's just do the intermission. You come right in, okay?
Okay, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you to our broadcast here tonight, the 172nd edition of the Issues Room. The Issues Room is the alternative social media platform emanating of Liberia, discussing the things pertinent to Liberia, the African continent, and that of our Black diaspora. We'd like to welcome you wherever you are tonight. We say thank you very much for joining us. Agnes Finda Simkai. I'm having some feedback and let me mute some folks here tonight quickly. Uh, uh, okay, that was coming from Mr. Yano. It was a little okay, good. Agnes Finda Samukai, Shaggy McCaffey, Thomas Livingstone, rather Flomo Livingstone, Thomas Awaji. We say thank you so much for uh, joining us here tonight. We'd like to continue to hold this conversation with Dr. Amos. Godwin Wiado, thanks for finding the way through work to be here. Leola Wiley Williams from California. Manneh Sumo from Delaware. Yvonne Eyo, Kawu Gloria Voka Moba. Thank you, Virgin you for joining us. I know a lot of folks don't let to make it known that they're here, but interestingly, we have the numbers growing. Continue to share the link, continue to invite folks. Let's hear from Dr. Amos Moses. Uh, Let me just unmute you quick so you can throw your
Oh,
question. Go ahead.
yes. So on that, the statement that you made and the explanation that you gave, it gives me the impression that there's some contradiction here. If you tell us that the government is doing its best, but it has bad managers, how would the government do its best when there are bad managers? You
well,
know,
well,
for example, right? You just came from Liberia. You and I know, and that is public record, that when it comes to rule of law, is non-existent in Liberia. Corruption is uncontrollable. You have a president who is insensitive to even what is happening in the country. Then how do you tell us that the government is doing its best, but it has bad managers? How do you reconcile it?
when you're on the football field
Hmm.
and the center kicks the ball and he misses it, you don't
Yeah.
tell him and say you did bad. You encourage him and say you did
Okay, I
okay
got
next time. Okay,
you. Okay.
but the same thing here. The people that any government, by the way, that is in the country running it will give themselves better than a C, no matter how dismal the situation is. So now you
Okay.
want I can take that one from them and say,
So you're giving
eh,
a pat on the back, right?
well, you know what? I give them a pat on the back for at least being there to
Okay.
do what they can. Okay, that's
Okay.
effort. But the fact of the matter is this: is that the reality is that Papa, y'all can do the thing that needs to be done.
Okay.
That will bring Liberia into the place where it needs to be at, so that the Liberian people will not suffer any longer. For
Okay.
example, the United Nations said that in 2035, Liberia, the lowest person should be making $750. Does it look like it's happening? They also said that in the year 2023, Liberia is supposed to be making the least persons will be making $500. Is it happening yet? No. So if you know all of these things, then why are you still going to say, I want to be president? Okay? No, Papa. Wait. Let somebody who have gone to school learn these things and learn how to put economies together and to make money for the people. Let them do it. You already got your name in there. You say, president. Okay. Football player, president. You did your part. Now, it is a time to say, I will buy out and let people go. So if you continue, then the people that you put in charge aren't doing what needs to be done. They are bad managers. And so it is a reflection on your administration, and you shouldn't allow them to do that. That's why
Okay.
people will go ahead and resign.
Yeah. Thank you.
Alfonso?
Yeah, Dr. Amos, I want you to let the pig out of the bag. You just criticized the current administration. You told us that Mr. Cummings, even after picking Charlene, is still not gaining traction. And then prior to that, you told us that you've been talking to two groups of people in political parties. And honestly, what I heard from you, you kind of gave Ambassador Boakai and even Jeremiah Kuhn and Prince Johnson a pass. So let the cat out of the bag. Are those the people you've been talking to? Are those the people you intend to support?
Well, you know what? Uh, I said to my people that when the decision has been made, we sit together and we will decide which direction to go in. It would be imprudent of me to go ahead and give one person a pass and the other not. Remember also that these people also have their own constituencies, and I mean, who wants their person to be dragged in the mud? I'm not here to drag nobody in the mud. Neither am I here to say who is it that I want to pick until they decide they want to listen to what I have to say too. Then we'll make that decision and we'll make the announcement. But other than that, then rather now isn't the time.
Am I correct though that you said those things that I just pointed to?
Say what things.
That Cummings is not gaining traction, that
Oh yeah, he
the
said it.
WIA administration is not doing a good job, even though they're doing their best, but their best is not good enough. You also mentioned Ambassador Boakai, and you said picking Jeremiah Kuhn was kind of a little bit of a drag, but Prince Johnson is remorseful
I
for
mean,
what he
who
did,
wants
etc.,
those
etc.
things that
That
I did?
seems to me that from all indications, that's the direction. So even if your political party hasn't met that's where you as an individual is leaning towards.
And someone else would say that I'm hedging my bet also, so I haven't heard that yet. But
Okay.
no, I am not.
Okay.
Well, what I'm saying is this: that we have to do things for the betterment of the nation. And you know, uh, either these men, okay, can do better, including President Weir, can do better. But we have to have better people. Hawkeye, has to have people that is going to present him as a viable candidate despite of his age, and also Cummings she can do better. Even though Charlene was there, but I think by her, in my opinion, my humble opinion, by her being in the spotlight like this for the first time, there has to be some learning on her part that needs to be understood. However, Cummins, in my opinion, will also, from an economic perspective, can deliver for Liberia.
Let me come in quick and ask you this question, Dr. Ammons, because we'll soon be taking leave of you because we have to go in our next segment. Um, what did you see as the most burning issue on the ground?
Well, the most burning issue that I saw on the ground had to do with the living condition of the Liberian people. I think that the money spent on things that, uh, and I think they're looking at privatization from the perspective that what can one person do? Well, privatization has to be turned over to individuals or business or corporation to, for example, want to build houses for people, so that it can better their living conditions. So that what I saw because when I was a child and we were going along the road to Grand Bassa County and there were mud houses on the road, that doesn't mean that there aren't mud houses in other places. But when I saw that and see it again, 50 years later, I'm like, what has happened to us? We used to be big brother in Africa. The Ghana used to come to us, ask us for money. Now they got an economy that's over $200 billion GDP, and we stay at $3 billion. What's going on? So I think it is because of bad management, and it didn't start with the weird regime. This started, further back. But what I do feel and do think that if we all come to the table together and say it together, what is the best way to move forward, regardless of party affiliation? What can we do to make our country better than what it is right now? I am willing to bet that you would get a lot of positive things out of that. And if people put aside their pride and say, I'm the one in power, I'm the one president, and put that aside and just concentrate on what can we do together to make Liberia better, we will arrive at that point and you will see there will be better men in Liberia and it will be a place where people can go to and relax and take their vacation. But until then,
Now that you're no longer in a race, what is your message for the electorates?
the message is to choose the right person to be president. But if you want to choose snake, that you're prominent kati, because the snake will say, "You knew I was snake when it bites you. Why did you take a hold of me?" I'm not calling anyone a snake. I'm just saying that we must be prudent enough. We must open our eyes good enough to pick the right person this time around. And if that person has to be on, not even on the ballot, that if NEC will go ahead and say we won't put other in there and put Volcano as president, then so be it. That's democracy. But right now is that when we close up on these four names or these 20 people who are, the rest of may be consequential, then that would be our problem. So we have to choose the best person to be president.
Gentlemen, one more question, Eso, we can let him go.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dr. Amazal, let me put this to you as someone who was eyeing the presidency. If you take a look at Liberia from 2018 up to now, the way Mr. Weir has administered the affairs of the country, the uncontrollable, dishonesty, massive corruption all over the place, with he himself being at the helm of it. Coming to the presidency in less than six months, building for himself reportedly 47 condominium. Uh, how would you rate George Weah? Do you think he's a good leader?
Well, I would say, first of all, and that's a good question, but we don't have any ratings to rate any president yet as of now.
Hmm.
Uh, to say this is the criteria that we have to follow to rate a president. Well, personally, I am still saying, as I've said before, that the Liberian people deserve better.
Okay.
And if you haven't done what the Liberian people expected you to do, and you have missteps like building 47 condominiums rather than building low cost houses for people so they can pay money back to the government until it's paid off and continue that process. If you haven't done these things, then it is a decimal failure on anybody And even if I were president and I did this, it would be a failure to me. So right now, our country needs help, and the people that can help haven't come to the table yet to say I can do this and I can do that. That's why I threw my hat in the ring simply because I felt that we could do something better. But since I'm not in it, and it's still my country and all of ours, we need to still come together to put our best foot forward to do it. And Mr. Weir has not done these things in a profound way to effectuate change in the Republic of Liberia. He has not. You know, people say, well, he built a road, he did this, he did that, but on what level and how much of it has been done? Well, what amount of money that you have and started off with? If money was misappropriated and that was already pre-appropriated for X, Y, and Z, and it wasn't done, then that's negligence on your part. But right now, the Liberian people are crying for help, and we don't want to get to the point where the uh, the cry for help is so bad that people start doing things that they will later on regret. So my point is that Weir could have done better. He hasn't, and so to put him back again would not be the answer to the Liberian people's prayer.
Alfonso, your last question.
You said you were in talks with two political parties. What are those two political parties that you're in talks
I know you're trying to get this out of me, but let me tell you the two political parties we are looking at, if they have similar platform to ours, the one that comes closest to ours, that's the one we're going to be going with. But other than that, let them make the decision whether they want me as part of the party, and then we'll make that announcement.
What are the two parties you've been talking to? I know you will select one, but what are the two parties you've been talking
Well, it would be unfair for me to point out one and not the other,
to?
or
No,
point out
just name
three and
both.
not.
I'm asking you to actually name both, not pick one now. Just name the two you've been talking to.
Well, as far as talking, I have talked to more than two. These were the two that we came to conclusion that one of
Okay.
these would be the one that we pick.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Ammons.
Alrighty.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for having me
Yeah.
on the
We,
issue room.
we wish the Greater Action Party well. We hope that you wouldn't disappear like all the political parties until the eve of 2029, because then you will be meeting me in the race. I can tell you now.
The more the merrier. I said.
So we say thank you so much for the time here with us tonight. The Issues Room is your family. You know that. Behind the scene, you made some commitment to be with us. So we say thank you for the gesture, and we look
Yeah,
forward to you living up to that promise you made. Thank you again.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It
Yeah,
was a pleasure having you, sir.
gentlemen. Let's talk about our National Independence Day. Okay, because what Dr. Manneh Sumo wrote is kind of aligned to it. So should I just read it and then we talk about what happened? We did. We
Yeah, yeah. You can read his a memory lane. Then we can discuss.
did.
Yeah.
All right. So Dr. Sumo wrote Happy Independence Day to all Liberians. Okay. That's the caption. Hillary Teague was the secretary of the Declaration of Liberia's independence. By all accounts, Hillary Teague was the father of Liberia's independence. Just like George Washington of the United States of America and Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, who are considered the founding fathers of their respective countries, so is Hillary Teague to Liberia. Liberians, let us honor our founding fathers. Let us honor our existence as a nation. However, unlike Kwame Nkrumah and George Washington, who were respective citizens of their countries, Hillary Teague had no citizenship before immigrating to Liberia. He was born into slavery in Richmond, Virginia. the USA. So Tej was in search of a country where he could be called a citizen. On this day, July 26, Minh, 1847, Hilary Tej and all the settlers became citizens of a nation. They became citizens of Liberia. For the first time in their lives, Tej and his colleagues became citizens. A great man of valor and one of Liberia's brightest men, Tej is the author of Liberia's motto, "The love of liberty brought us here." Tej is credited for designing the seal of Liberia. Tej is also the composer of All Hill, Liberia Hill. I believe we would check that out. Tej made popular the original hymn entitled "My Country This of Thee" by Samuel Francis Smith, and he taught the settlers to sing it in gratitude of them finding a country where they became citizens. Tej was the first Secretary of State of Liberia, a position we now call the Minister of Foreign Affairs. In 1835, Tej was the first to own and publish a newspaper in Liberia called the Liberia Herald. Hilary Tej left Richmond, Virginia at age 14 to settle in the new colony, now Liberia, formed by the American Colonization Society. His father, Colin Tej rather, and Lockheed were Baptist ministers who paid for their freedom for themselves and their families. At that time, no slave born on American soil could be citizens of America. In one of his memoirs, Tej called the settlers pilgrims. He dreamed to see the evolution from settlers to pilgrims to citizens, from the cotton farms to a nation he called home. You remember it? It was until July 9, 1868, when the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution granted citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including former enslaved people. Happy Independence Day to the people of Liberia. You've celebrated 176 years of existence. But, gentlemen, what can we show? What can we show for 176 years in comparison to where we are today? With everything we have done with ourselves, the wealth, the endowed gifts that have been given to us by donor nations, Nations, the United States of America. Is this a 176-year-old country? What type of country is this?
uh, Volcano,
Because 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 we're 14 years away from 200 years, 200 years of independence.
Mhm.
Is that the nation that we're showing to the world?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, the question you asked, Volcano, is like any of us, when you celebrate your birthday, that becomes a time of reflection. It's not only today is my birthday, this is my birthday.
You eat chicken thigh.
Yeah, you eat chicken thigh, you go, you get drunk, and you come, and I say no. That's when you need to begin to retrospect, take a critical look at your life. Uh, you were born 20 years ago, and today you are 21. Okay, you became an adult as per American standard, 18. What have you done with your life? Did you graduate high school? Do you have a career? Or you just staying at home? All of your siblings are ahead of you. You're accumulating years. But in terms of progress, where are you? And I think that's the question that the people in government, or that's the question that Liberians need to begin to ask. We are 176. We were the first Negro Republic. right?
Yeah, and quickly let me make that correction.
Yeah,
Within the script from Dr. Sumo,
yeah,
national anthem of Liberia was never written by Hillary Teach. It was written by Daniel Bashel Warner, one of our presidents, not Edwin Barkley. Someone is thinking Edwin Barkley. Edwin Barkley wrote the Lone Star Forever,
yeah,
not the national anthem. The national anthem of Liberia was written by Daniel Bashel Howard, Warner rather, Daniel B. Warner. Daniel B. Warner was the one who wrote our national anthem, the All Hail Liberia, Hail, All Hail.
yeah. So back to what I was saying, right? You 176 today, but yet you cannot travel from Monrovia to Lofa way east. You cannot travel from Monrovia to Grand Jide way east. You cannot travel from Monrovia to to Maryland way east. In fact, they have to pass through Ivory Coast. Sometimes you have to pass through Sierra Leone to go to Lofa. And you're earning money.
Yeah, but man, I keep seeing
What
14
is
years.
happening?
Hold on, yeah, I keep seeing 14 years. You're right, 24 years. I mean, listen, I am so
But man, we human beings, my man, we
no,
do
no,
make
no, but I'm
mistakes.
so mad. And
Yeah.
even the 24 year, you even stretching it for us to be 200 years will still be the same because of these bad
Yeah.
governments.
So let me stop there, guys,
Yes,
and just give it to your, you
so,
know.
so tax Connie, I understand, man.
Yeah.
I'm just frustrated, my brother. I'm just
Yeah.
frustrated. So,
Yeah,
go ahead, Alfonso.
Larry. Definitely, definitely, Moses. Definitely, Volcano. We're far, far, far behind where we should be, and that's bad enough. But what's more infuriating is that we're not even trying to move forward, to make any effort. I mean, our leaders today think that it's sufficient for them to just steal money and build little houses and give people a few cups of rice or whatever, and that's sufficient. That is not sufficient. The way a country moves forward, the way an economy develops, is when people are able to work for themselves and earn money and take care of themselves. The way any country moves forward is when people have the resources or access to the resources to be ingenious, to invent, to create things, and to produce things. That's how a country progresses. It's not a government giving people food to eat or whatever. It's not charity. It's not individual politicians going and say, I did well for you today or whatever. And the outgoing US ambassador put it right in his last press conference the other day. Your country will never go forward and make progress on charity,
Absolutely.
on what America gives you or what the UN gives you. Nope, that's not going to help you. That will do nothing.
And
What you need to do is develop and rely on your resources. Sarah, go ahead. Volkan.
yeah, and I like that point because I wanted to throw this in here.
Yeah,
This president goes to go beg for $65 million the other
yeah,
day. He carries another group of people, add more
yeah,
out of that 65 because I'm sure they spent maybe $5 million just on that trip.
yeah. I
Just on
like
that trip.
it. Hmm.
Stipends, the charter flight, and all of that. Whereas he and a few close lieutenants who have gone, he carried the whole cabinet again almost with him. All of
They
his
carry a
trips.
shadow fly,
Yeah,
yeah.
all of his trips, right?
Hmm.
But you talked about the handouts that we receive.
Yeah,
Instead of the resources in the country doing well for us, we sign fake contract with these people.
yeah.
The people who sign the deal and the president, they get the cut that's supposed to come to the country. They take that one up front. Then these guys become, nobody watching them. And so they take more than they're supposed to take.
I see.
Then the people who are living right in those areas
Hmm.
where the concession companies are operating get
Yeah,
nothing.
got nothing.
That's the one that hurts me.
Yeah,
You're taking millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of resources out of the country. You give a few millions of dollars to the government and the lieutenants, and then the country just leave in drained.
Absolutely.
When this man talked about the mud huts or huts rather on the highways of Monrovia, I'm not Monrovia,
Basta.
of
Mm.
the country. You travel on the Buchanan Highway, you're not going to see anything but villages still on the side of the road. Long before I was born, the same
People
thing.
bringing in
You
from
you
the creek, right?
yeah yeah
And drinking from the creek. Yeah.
you travel the same way on the Bummy Hill side, nothing but villages.
Yeah.
You travel on the main uh, uh, what we call that road from Ray like Ganta Harbor Highway or how
Yeah.
you,
Yeah, yeah, the Kantah
okay.
Highway, yeah.
You travel again, nothing but villages. Few little pockets of people building now on the main road because everybody want own stores. Is this the country that we say we developing?
Yeah.
Is this the country
Yeah.
that's going anywhere?
No.
When you got these concession deals and then people pocket the money up front, look at what Ellen Johnson and her son did. Ran no car down the drain, walk away
Yeah.
scot free. That is why she continued to say Baka will not be president because she know what it means. You think because you're a former president, you have all the amenities in the world. If you rob the country, you and your children, your grandchildren, you're all filthy rich, and then you're still meddling in Liberian politics. Let's talk so, talk so.
I mean,
Where is this
yeah,
country
right.
going? You celebrate 176 years old.
I think
Hey,
they
look at
should.
you. The main corridors in your country are cutting now.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Cutting.
Yep. Yep. Look at.
107. You know what 176 years
Yeah.
mean for a country
Yeah.
that has so much wealth, mineral, natural resources, and it looks like this, and you still celebrating in the Centennial Pavilion?
Yeah. Yeah, that was
So
built for
Sierra
people.
Leone,
It
it
was built
yes,
for people who are in the 50s and 40s and
it
still
was
going there
built.
to
It was
celebrate. Yeah.
built 76 years ago. So look at
Okay, yeah.
look at look at infant and maternal mortality in Liberia, for example. The woman go give birth and she die in childbirth,
In
or
childbirth,
the
yeah.
child dies doesn't reach the age of 5 or whatever, dies below age of 5 or right after the age of 5. What have we done to address it? And I'm mentioning this to say what Sierra Leone just did. They passed a law, a policy and a law to say every pregnant woman, every child 5 and under gets free medical care.
Yes.
That is to address infant mortality and maternal mortality. That's programming. Let's go back to Liberia and look at the the petroleum road fund that will put some money on it. Anybody who buys a gallon of gasoline
Yeah, the
is
tax happen.
contributing towards the road fund construction of roads in the country. What did our government officials who went before the Senate just tell us? The man I pay you, you owe 10 million, so I think we gotta go by and negotiate with
You
him.
gotta go to
And get that.
yeah.
We're talking about since 2018. These people haven't paid. And that goes back to what you were saying, Volcano. It's not true that these people are not paying. They took bribes from these people and therefore not going after them to pay the money.
Yeah.
Who suffers? Liberian
We can
people
just
suffer. The St. John River Bridge is breaking down. Now they got people standing there when car gets to the bridge. Then people have to get out of the car. Then the car drive. People walk across because it's breaking down. The bearings that's holding the bridge up have broken or busted,
I
according
mean,
to the.
I was intending to go to Buchanan, but I'm putting myself on that road.
Yeah, I know. You can
but
walk across. You can walk across.
Why am I walking at the side of the road?
but but Alfonso, right?
Yeah,
What you say, the question that came to my mind is the driver who is driving, doesn't that man have life? Everybody will walk, and you the driver, you cross the bridge.
the hope is that
So
the
it means
car.
that your life is not precious
No,
as
they
well,
hope the
right?
car is not lighter. Some people get down, the car is lighter, so the
Oh,
bridge
okay.
will not broke. That
I mean,
break.
anything can happen. Oh. Yeah, I'm putting my car on.
Let me just
Okay,
let me just quickly
yeah,
let me
brother.
just quickly clarify on behalf of Dr. Sumo. He said it was his error. Yes, of course. The national anthem was written by our third president Daniel B. Warner, but the anthem was composed by Olmsted Luca, who
Okay.
wrote the yeah, and Hillary P.
Independent.
Instead was the one who did the independence hymn,
Yeah.
which I don't know how it sounds, but yes. So for that correction, And Edwin Barclay was the one who wrote the Lone Star Forever. So that's a little bit of history there. But let's come back to this conversation. So Moses, even
Mhm.
my man here said tax say we stay taking bath in bucket.
Oh yeah, but it's common, man.
In bucket. We stay taking bath in bathroom where the tile lap out to the door. Then you standing, the tile blocks there. You scared for your foot to touch the ground.
I tell
You
you,
keep out in
man.
your own dirty water, put it that way. And then you see
Yeah, man.
the worms
Scary.
coming off the
Come
ground.
on, yeah.
That's
Yeah, man.
because there's
It's
no
too scary,
running.
my man.
There's no running
No
water. So
running. So when
people
you think
just
about the water
if
sits right
people
there.
go and say they build well for people to do, those are just cosmetic things. They can't address the problem. There's several reasons why we need running pipe-borne water. So people are able. Let me tell a very quick story. One of my men used to work with GDZ. They went to Lofa and they built toilets in the town for the people. They gave the people the keys. They left. 6 months they go back.
The
The
toilets are
same
still
way
there.
they built the toilet still like that.
People
So
used to the bush.
they call the town people. They say we built the toilet. Why you're not using it? What happened? Nobody talk until after 15 minutes. The woman got up. She said, "Let me tell you. For me no teba, for me no poo poo. Sorry for using the word poo poo. For me no poo poo. It's a private matter. I can't walk through the town and go enter the toilet. Everybody know I'm going to poo poo. The day my stomach running and say, "Oh, that matter over there, she going again." Oh. Everybody see people. That's why I will not use that thing.
Yeah.
Why am I telling this story? It's a private matter. Let if you have running water and people can put commode in their place and defecate and shower and bathe in their places. That's one of the reasons. Just putting well outside so that people go outside and poo poo or pee pee, it's not hygienic. It's problem.
And you're right. I like that part where it's private because
Yes.
you'll be shamed. So when you go there, you splash people on the seat, and that's one
Yes.
know that you.
They say that Alfonso.
Somebody follow you say Alfonso Jago is just flat people every day.
I wasn't sending that email.
They say, my man, I messed up and running.
So all that public facility, I
Yes.
mean, and of course the pit toilet, we
Yeah.
all used pit toilet when we were back in.
Yeah, yeah, but
But
it's
we
not
come down
maintained.
in this
Yeah.
modernity of time, and we're
Exactly.
just still going backwards. But think about it: the house where uh, th- these guys who say they are lawmakers
Yeah.
sitting, they stay pouring water in gallons to flush toilet, and you're celebrating rather
Yeah,
176
176.
years of
Yeah.
independence. And this president goes there and mounts the podium in pride and in dignity that he's been the best president
He's the
since
best.
1847.
Mhm.
But then why don't you change everything since you have the magic wine?
Yeah,
Why don't
the
you,
best. The real
why
best.
don't you just rub the country and everything just become glamorous? What?
And and Volcano, let me just introduce this. Mr. We are both about he been Liberia best since 1847. I don't know if any of you had the opportunity of watching him deliver his July 26th Independence Day message at the Centennial Pavilion.
I did not. Yeah.
Gentlemen, I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed. It was shameful. Very, very denigrating. At that program, they had, I think, three African leaders, including the Ghanaian president. They all graced the occasion. And you tell me, gentlemen, we all here are public speakers. When you go to deliver a statement, like you want to address the issues room, and the members of the issues room are in your audience, will you continuously look at your speech and say, yeah, Volcano? And you're reading, you're not making no eye contact. Volcano Shelton of the issues room, Alfonso of the issues room, Moses Sandy of the issue. These are people that you work with, even including your wife. That's how denigrating Mr. Weir was. This guy, even his wife named the introductory, you know, a statement, when he comes and recognize all the public official to call the name of his wife,
Moses,
the president. Yeah.
let me see if I can bring him, okay?
Okay.
Be
Yeah. Fine. Yeah.
talking.
Bring him.
Go ahead. Be talking
Mhm.
quick.
Yeah. So the president stood over there. He could not make eye contact with anybody, nobody. And his reading was so poor. It was like somebody doing recitation volcano.
Hmm.
The statement was good, but the delivery was terrible. I stopped watching it.
All right, let's go there. He's walking to the podium.
Yeah, he's walking. Yeah.
I told
Oh
to keep
yeah.
it from there.
Yeah. Let's take it from there. Mhm. It is shameful, man.
I don't know why I'm not getting signed though.
Are you okay? But careful, yeah. Let's see.
No, but the man still got your head down, so I just wanted you
Oh,
to.
okay.
I wanted to just make the
Okay.
point, but I can't.
Okay. Yeah. The man, when you speak in the public, you convey your message to your audience by maintaining eye contact.
Hold on. So you
Yeah.
see him? I
Yeah.
don't know why I'm not getting sound. I'm trying to
Hmm.
figure out here why I'm not getting sound. But his head is still down. So go
His
ahead.
head is still down. He
Yeah,
made no eye contact,
it was not,
even to
and this is
to to
just the salutation. He
yeah,
just
just a salutation of his dignitaries that were there from other African countries,
he's still looking at the
including
paper.
including his wife. Mr. Weir did not maintain eye contact with nobody.
But look there, you can see him, right?
You can see my man, the
Okay.
man read like somebody who is in grade school. You see that? That's your president reading. How can this man represent Liberia at the United Nations? Can Mr. Weir represent Liberia at the AU? What international forum can George Weah go to represent Liberia? That's the salutation that
So,
he's
so,
still reading.
so let's stop there. He's read until he put a whole page aside,
A whole page aside.
and then he still
Volcano.
has not raised his head.
Not watching for the next 2 minutes and see
Oh,
whether he will ever look at anybody.
all right, let's see. Let's see.
That he coming the second page, you see there? He's gonna move the second page on. This man is president of the Republic of Liberia. Reading
He just lifted his head up, and I guess somebody called his name,
somebody call his
or
attention.
maybe somebody says,
He
"Wait."
said something, yeah, and that's it.
But
He going right back, yeah.
that's the fact here. I'm not sure if Alfonso slipped out,
So
but
yeah, that
let me just remove it. But I know
mhm.
you wanted to make your point.
Yeah, so the point I was making is that the speech, I think two things I pick up here. The guys who write Mr. Weir's speech, they don't do him a favor. They don't do good for him. Mr. Weir is a poor communicator. He's a poor public speaker. So men like that, when you write a speech for him, you do triple space, and and let the words be very simple. But
And
he allows
and,
Samuel
and,
Tuet to
and
use those.
increase the bullet too, right?
Yes, let us God be
I
given the
mean the font,
opportunity to
the
talk
font.
for, yeah,
Increase the
increase the font size, and let the speech be for no more than 10 or 15 minutes because it's a poor public speaker. He cannot afford to lose track of what is before him. So that's why you do the spacing, you do triple spacing, and you increase the font size and let him rehearse it for a month before the event.
I mean, a whole
Oh
month.
yeah, I mean the man is bad off.
A whole month. And you know something too?
Yeah,
The people who deal with we are say the men are tall like come man from the outside part. But when it comes to these kind of things, because you would think that if the president, say for
yeah,
instance, after your greeting
yeah,
to the
yeah,
audience
yeah.
and you said something, you're able to stop, leave the script, and expound on it a little bit,
Yes,
put some
and move
layman,
forward.
and then go back to your script. Like
Yeah,
how some speakers will speak, that can extend the speech, right?
yes,
If you
yes,
wrote a 10-minute speech, you could stretch it out to 15, 20 minutes.
yeah.
If you're able to pick up on some key,
You got your
components.
pointers right before
Yeah.
you, and you just
But
rolling.
but
Yeah,
the man reading, the man he's just shaking his head like uh it's sad though. It's sad. It's sad.
it's
And,
sad.
and, and people clapping for him at the United Nations, like it's celebratory when the president speaks at the UN.
Yeah,
Uh,
and,
you know,
and, and Volcano, this thing is happening in the presence of other African leaders.
yeah.
The president of the Republic of Liberia doing recitation, an event that was planned months in advance.
All right. So let's leave. Let's come to Zanzan Kawa. What the man say he was doing?
Okay, and that's where again the government dropped the ball.
Okay.
Zanzan Kawa is not an educated man. They selected him as orator for this year.
So after this last little bullet, we'll open the line to hear from some of our viewers
Yeah, yeah,
the perspective on the
yeah. The July 26th. Zanzan Kawa oration was in Basa. He had an interpreter. Now, they could have done this. They would have gotten a written speech for Zanzan Kawa saying he's illiterate. And, after the delivery, then they can give that to media institutions, the written copy. That's how journalists will be able to report from what he said. But all they did, they allowed the old man to mount the podium and speak Basa.
they said the man who was interpreting couldn't understand some of the papi pastor. The papi was speaking so pastor, the real so pastor. So the guy, the pastor man, they said the whole thing was a fiasco.
It was a fiasco. So can you imagine, Forgetter? Let's assume that you had international journalists in that audience. What would they report?
Mhm.
The president was horrible. The orator was horrible because the man spoke Basa. Not everybody in there to speak Basa.
I know the three presidents said, "What was our town to kind of can't take a whole 1 day working visit to kind
They go working visit for me.
come here, pastor."
They come here, Basa, and the president doing recitation for us.
Gentlemen, the lines open 404-272-2808. Call in and chime with us. Let's just talk about 160th Independence Anniversary. Moses, I know you Jared.
Hello, and
Uh,
forget.
let me get the people going
Yeah.
first. 404-272-2808, 404-272-2808. Please call. We'd like to hear from you. What your perspective? How you saw the 26th celebration? What does it mean for Liberia? It coincides with our upcoming elections, as we know. October 10th will be the what they call it, the
They do or die.
do or die, the do or die for our country's future. We have a president who's reading for almost 5 minutes. Again, before he's scared before he missed the line.
The man want me to long, man.
Man, and we still using the Centennial Pavilion, more than almost 200 years
Yeah,
old.
it's a
And,
good Centennial
so
Pavilion, man.
call. We'd like to hear from you. Go ahead, Moses.
No, I mean, for 176 years, my man, the only place you go to celebrate is Centennial Pavilion. What type of country is this for Canada?
Okay, let me take this caller quick. The caller is from 5027 Delaware. Good evening. Welcome to the Issues Room. Your name?
My name is Sergio Moyu. How you doing?
We're good. We're
Good.
good. Yeah. Make your contribution, my brother, if you're following the show.
Yes. I think President Weah needs interpreter. I mean, I think it would be good that he's speaking crew. I mean, no disrespect to him, and then you have somebody interpreting, for him, especially when you got international guests visiting you.
Yeah.
I think that's where it helps a lot. For a president to be spending just getting down his head, giving speech and then lift on your head. I mean, that is very, surprising for me. On the side of Zanzibar, I am a Basel man. People that Moses, Sandy, I think the government of Liberia needs to call on you to go back to train some of those journalists because you guys are well experienced. And, Zanzibar is a Basel man. Okay, if you're coming to speak, Basel from somebody from Ghana, from other countries, nobody hearing what you are saying. You need somebody that will interpret what you are saying with your guests.
Yeah.
But these two just made Liberia look so bad to the outside world, and that's not a good thing, for our country.
That's true.
Thank you.
But just keep for the good work you're doing. I watch you all of the time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, my brother.
Thank you, my brother. Thanks for the compliment.
Let me post what John Carr is saying here. John Carr said you guys are laughable. Who told you guys the Liberian people care about your partisan politics and comical utterances on this show? The Liberian people appreciate George Weah and that he will win the elections hands down. It is conspicuously apparent. Okay, John Carr, you sitting down in America. They may not even know your name, but you still fighting for him. Go ahead. There are a lot of you fighting for Weah.
John is craving attention from Mr.
Weah.
Weah, and
Yeah,
you will never get it. So
yeah.
let him knock himself out. Yeah. Mhm.
So like we were saying, right? So
Yeah.
look, even on a President Doe, my brother, President Doe, when they said 26 and how the program was carried out, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, for Canada.
And
Yeah.
President Doe deliver. Even with some of the words that he couldn't pronounce, he was stutter on them, but there was authority.
Of course.
How can a president stand so? I mean, no authority in we have.
No authority, my man. No authority.
I don't think he understands the weight of this position. There's nothing like the presidential presence.
And Volcano, do you know what it means to mount the Buddha, what they call the Buddha pulpit? That's what the president has. When you stand before that, you stand behind that pulpit, you are displaying authority. You are the man everybody looking up to, they want to hear from. They want to hear from. And you're standing there, you're acting like a kid. That's how the president conducted himself. You watch that video, Volcano. I was watching the thing. I was so discouraged that I just discontinued watching it. The delivery was so terrible.
And part of our and just you took the word out of my mouth.
Yeah.
When a person is delivering a speech, if you're not immersed in the speech, I'm telling you, Moses, nobody cares about it. No, if you're not a good speaker, people will feel bored. People, it's like a waste of their time. You have to bring your audience to you. And if you're reading, like you always say, at a third grade level, with your head bowed into the sheet, that you barely can make eye contact, even just with the greetings or the salutation.
Salutation.
You want to tell me, as easy as that would be, that you're not able to lift on your head rather
and call the name of your wife, Claire Weah.
Madam First
Claire
Lady.
Deputy Weah. to call the lady name
Oh,
as
yeah,
part of the salutation. Oh, yeah, that's how he calls her.
okay.
To call that lady name Volcano.
Your head down.
Mr. Weir did not lift his head. The vice president, he did not lift his head. The speaker, the Senate pro tem, these are people that he knows personally.
And work with them every day.
Yeah.
And in fact, for the number of speeches he's given,
Yeah.
those people are in order.
Yeah. The chief or the chief justice, all these people.
They're in order.
Yeah.
So something it should just be second nature.
Of course, man.
You know,
you man that podium, you just stand up and talk. You know these people. You know the people. And you know?
yeah. And I think I like what Flomo Livingstone says here. The president lost the position, but he doesn't want the responsibility that comes with it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what it is. He's asking for six more years, rather, but he's not even prepared for the first 6 years. And how will he do in the second 6 years? Now, people like John Carr, and I say people like John Carr because there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
And since he decided to hit us with this partisan politics, and as much as we've said, and now it can be Bwaga who comes here and we will say the same. What are Cummings? We represent a country, not George Weah. I don't represent George Weah. I don't represent President Weah. President Weah is a come and go. Liberia will remain. Ellen was a come and go. Liberia remained, right? And George Weah has inherited. He's asking for 6 more. He's a come and go. I have no relationship to him. I have no loyalty to him. I have all the loyalty to the Republic of Liberia. And that is why when we come here, we want to point out some of these things. Our president, for as long as he's been here, 56 going 57 years old, who is a man with master's degree, who is a man who is well-traveled.
The man's a preacher. Don't forget now, the man's a preacher.
Yeah, I mean, all of these different positions he's held, he should be able to read. Simply read. Simply engage his audience. He's representing the country on his 176th birth anniversary. He represents the country at the United Nations. When Liberia is sending anyone to any public competition, they send the best.
Of course.
We send the winner of the Miss Liberia to represent Liberia. We don't just take any woman and say, can't go represent Liberia as the queen.
No.
So when we're sending our president, it means he's the best to represent the country. So
and the mayor has already claimed to be the best. So he's supposed to be number one.
so then when we come and say these things, then, people want to have a problem? Yeah. Are you for real? So we should always just let people do what they want to do and bring shame to the country? Or should we begin to hold people by standards?
Need to hold people by standards.
So it bothers me when people think we talk these things. It has anything rather to do with partisanship. I have said it, and you always see it from today, from tomorrow. I'm not a member of any Liberian political party. We established the issues room to be one of the conduits through which we can enlighten our people. We're not saying that all we say here is
we are human beings, we are not saying
should be accepted.
But
we're not saying we're forcing it down your throat, but we're pointing to what we think could be better. We're pointing to what we think could be better. We criticize President Doe. I was in high school. We criticized President Doe. We laughed at some of the words that he couldn't pronounce.
Yeah, we did.
Okay? So what's the difference here with he and President Weah?
And this come back to the question
before you say that, if President Weah was addressing the nation more, if President Weah was addressing the press more, if President Weah was engaging the people more, he would have improved.
Of course, he would have started building that confidence.
Yes, that's what Doe was doing. But the man failed to address the people. And the reason why President Weah stands here to speak is because it's compulsory. It is compulsory that the president cannot be in the country able-bodied man and cannot address the nation on its Independence Day. So he's forced to do it. He doesn't have. I mean, it's not a compulsory that he goes to the United Nations. He can send his foreign minister,
Yeah.
but by standard, there are certain
Event.
presidential
Yeah.
functions that he can't run from.
It gotta be
And how
there.
he
Yeah.
continue to practice, engage the Liberian people, talk to the press, do short speeches here and there on
Yeah.
major
Address the
issues,
national issues. You know.
then he will have improved. That's the point I wanted to make.
No, you're absolutely right, Volcano. And for someone, and this is where we like to always bring it to his doorsteps. He goes around under this delusion that he's Liberia's best. Since 1847, he's the only man who has done what all the other presidents didn't do. So, Mr. President, we give it to you tonight. But will you tell us with three African leaders at the Centennial Pavilion, you talk to those people for over 20 or 30 minutes, you couldn't maintain eye contact? What type of president are you?
So Moses, it's 9 o'clock. Let's go into what type of country is this? 5 or 10 minutes of it,
Yeah.
and we can wrap this up.
It's
What type of country is this, Moses? That when you talk the fact, you got detractors trying to align you with political parties. What type of country
yeah.
is this? So
Eh,
everything now is about politics.
it's about politics. Yeah.
There's nothing now about patriotism. There's nothing now about national pride. I shouldn't say anything in the interest of my country, then it has to do with politics. What type of country is this?
What type of country is this? And unfortunately, that's where Liberia has gotten there. Even Volcano, if you take your time and pen an objective article on Liberia, somebody will say, oh, the man hit the man. But they're not looking at the content of what you have reading. Everything factual. But they say you hit the man. What type of country is this that when you disagree with somebody, it means that the both of you are enemies? What type of country is this? What type of country is this that people work diligently and they don't get paid and people think it's normal? Volcano, what type of country is this?
For the elite going around with monies in their pocket,
Yes.
the elites go around and dishing out money, all in the name of politics.
Mhm.
What type of country is this?
What country is this?
What type of country is this? I'm a framer. When the Coast Guard saved a fishing boat from pirates in broad daylight, involved in a firefight, no casualty or damages to the boat, but they caught 3 pirates and the other 3 escaped over the water, and still no updates from the LMP about the arrested pirates.
Yeah.
What type of country is this?
Yeah. And I think that's the boat that is sold. Mhm. Yeah. They said the boat was taken by Paris. Mhm. Can you imagine that? That happened in Greenville, one of the tall boats. It just disappeared. What type of country is this? What type of country is this? Someone who wants to be vice presidential pick, but refuses to pay his real estate tax. How are you going to make a good leadership?
And not only that, you jeopardize the future of a man who don't have a second chance.
Yeah, you jeopardize a man opportunity. They say, oh, my man, you okay? He said, no, that just 1,500. Oh,
No, make him call the refugee because he thought the party will put money in his pocket. You see,
yeah. So you were expecting people to pay your tax, my man?
corruption? Come on, Livingston, what type of country is this that the trash at the red light is turning into a mountain and the mayor doing nothing about it?
Oh, yeah.
Thomas Awaji, what type of country is this where most of the people don't believe in underarm deodorant? What type of country is this? Thomas Awaji,
They're passing by you, my man.
Look,
You holding your nose.
we've grown up in different times. That's the reason why. That's the reason why. Moses, what
Yeah.
type of country is this that the country is 176 years old and one of the major bridges in the country is almost in peril?
Yeah, at the point of collapse, eh?
What type of country is this?
And they
Because
tell you, say, "But man, let all the people come out from the car, but the
I know,
driver can cross the bridge."
I know how Bezon got feeling with wrong campaign in Volcano.
I know, my
I
man. I
know
know
how
how the
you.
people do it. Yeah, but my man, this is the wrong time, yo.
Oh, my man.
Because Mr. Wianek could decide, say, you know what? Those people, they're on their own.
Johnson Gongano, what type of country is this? When the ruling party has more logistics than the security apparatus.
Yes.
Oh
Oh,
my
yeah.
goodness.
So Johnson is absolutely right. You know how many papers the government purchased for CDC?
Can you imagine that?
150 pickups.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Well,
They
I mean, listen, what type of country is this where the standard bearer doesn't know the election rules for the VP selection? What country is this?
absolutely Thomas Awaji.
But
Yeah,
let's go back to this thing.
yeah,
How can this government take the Liberian people money in broad daylight?
yeah.
Refuse to prop the apparatuses in the country,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, the police, everybody.
And you put it behind politics. You see the thing I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
And then you got John Carr sitting there writing crap talking about the man will win again. You're right. He will win again because he took enough of the country money for the last 5.5 years.
Yeah.
And that's why he's flaunting. You can see how he's showing it off by giving it back to the people in subtle ways.
Yeah.
So yes, he
You
will
know,
win again.
Volcano, the situation with John Carr is understandable because he lives in a developed world.
And he
He
pay his
has
bills. That he
yeah,
pay
he
his
pay
bills.
his bills. He has the opportunity of doing all the doubles, and so he can say whatever. He's not feeling, the pinch of what we're talking about here.
He calling now.
Yeah,
John Carr calling.
let John go find somewhere to sit down, man. We're not
John Carr,
entertaining
you
John.
wasted down late, my man. Without bringing you on. What type of country is this?
What type of country is this? Yeah,
Late. What type of
yeah,
country is this? Shaggy McAfee, government officials can order from Amazon, but the average citizen can
Cannot.
order from the market.
Yeah. What type of country is this?
Almost YG again. What type of country is this where the only place to take pictures is the Royal Grand Hotel front door?
That's where everybody goes there, Volcano.
Oh, man,
Yeah,
it's a shame. They used to use the SKD Boulevard roundabout. This little,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, now the B place. Then they went up to Duka.
But before they used to use Centennial too, you know that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So those places, my brother, it's
Yeah.
a shame. My man, our country, man. I know. John Carr say I'm calling you. Call again, John Carr. Let me man. Let me get top plenty.
Let John go to sleep.
Oh, we'll get you 2 minutes.
Yeah.
What you calling to say? You coming wrong campaign? The topic.
But you forget to know that issue room. Yeah,
Wait,
the seat in the issue room is very hard.
John Carr, call. Say you want to talk, call. But yeah. So what
Yeah.
type of country is this? These guys who are advocating for President we have to be second term president, they just on his side, but they're not going to the country.
No, the
John
point
Carr
was.
say John Carr ran away, he go by you. John Carr
Oh,
say you ran away Liberia, you never been back. What you want to talk about the presidency in Liberia? What you know?
I think you guys have taken a bit from the show.
What means?
You leave germane issues, you're discussing triviality.
Okay,
So,
John.
yeah, let me make my point.
Make your
Okay,
point.
All the things
Hold
you
on.
say,
Hold on, John. I
Yeah.
like to give John the opportunity to make himself simple.
all
No,
the
I
things
don't want him. I want him to correct something for us
is
first.
saying, most of them don't have substance.
Okay.
You're talking about, first of all, you said something that you're not evidential about. Volcano, you said the government acquire
Many made a how you call it psychometry
you
megaphone.
didn't speculate. You didn't provide an allegation.
So you're telling me that
Yeah,
the government did not provide
guys-
150 vehicles to
Those
CDC?
guys that in government wait for government. Government had so many ways to get money. So why
Okay.
would you come and
Look at this.
conclusively say that the government using the Liberian people money?
But
And
you using the word government, then you say Liberian people, John. Look
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
disconnect.
but how will
But
you
John
come?
Carr,
No,
stop.
no, you taking the point. No, let me make my point. Don't
But,
interrupt.
don't say government.
That's
You say
a-
We're
Liberia.
not wasting our time, man.
Volcano.
That's
No, I
Stop.
gave you the opportunity. But listen now,
Yeah,
when you say
that's a, no,
government and you say Liberian people,
point.
they are
Yeah,
inextricably
the
linked.
man will not allow
no,
you to
no,
talk.
no,
Now we just cutting you off.
that's a party. The man, the president of Republic of Liberia, the party has its own resources and its own functionaries.
You said government.
So,
You didn't say
no, yeah, but
CDC.
so you can't say that using the government resources. I disagree.
Okay, John.
The party has its own resources. The party has its own functionaries. So why would you link it?
So, Volcano, can
Why
he hear me?
other people would not be contributing?
Let
to
him pause.
the
Let me ask him one or two
I mean, the
questions.
party generating funds.
Okay, hold on.
You know,
Moses
Moses-
want to ask you a question. Hold, John.
You know,
Hold.
Yeah.
Moses come and
Oh,
say he-
Yeah, John,
John,
calm down.
John.
We're not having street talk yet. Calm
John,
down,
I
John.
gave
John.
you, John, I gave you the opportunity. If you continue to be
Yeah, but you're not
condescend- but if you,
so,
but you're trying to be
wrong.
condescending, and I would have
And
told
John is having street
No, I
talk.
don't know
So,
if you're condescending.
man,
I'm being
let's-
realistic.
let's-
no, you're not
Very
being
good.
realistic. There's a way you can make your point, and I'm trying to understand when you use the word government and Liberian people, and I'm saying
Yeah.
that they are inextricably linked.
of course.
Okay,
No,
so
no,
you
it's not
said
in
you-
this context. The way you said it was wrong.
what,
The party.
this party is using the Liberian people money. The party, the CDC.
But that is not debatable. It's
CDC
public
government is the
information.
government, and it is the political party, and they're using the Liberian people money. So what they're to talk about? Go ahead, Moses. You wanted to say something.
Lord John, do you hear me?
Come to that first.
Ask him whether he hears me.
Joe, can you, John, can you hear Moses?
Do you hear me, John?
How can I talk so you don't want to give me 1 minute?
But,
Go
but
ahead.
Okay, my man. Volcano, let's
can
forget
you
about
hear
that, man.
Moses? I'm asking you. Can you hear Moses?
Also,
Moses?
Miss, you provided on the show. Why you don't give me a chance? Okay, Moses, go ahead.
Do you hear me, John?
Go
John,
ahead, Moses.
I want us to work on your grammar first. Do you hear me?
Hello?
Oh, he's not hearing me.
Go ahead.
It's just a
Go
waste of
ahead,
time.
Moses.
Look, John, the issues room, when we come here, we discuss issues with
See
substance.
if I can put him out here with
Okay, yeah, put him up there so we can have a
not sure
conversation.
you even hear.
Mhm. You can put him on the speaker there. Yeah. Yeah, John, do you hear me? Are you there, John?
I don't even think he's using a monitor. That's why.
Okay, but then let's forget about him.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
using
that's-
But the man is asking you, can you hear him? If you can hear him.
Do you hear me, John?
I can't get him. So, hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on 1 minute.
Man, I'm on the clock, but
No, if you're on the clock, I don't want to jeopardize your job.
No, Volcano. I'm for the best people like
hello, John, you're talking to your bosses, my man. These boys, they don't be on the clock time like this. Oh.
You were talking about the best for your
I'm
country.
listening. I'm listening.
All right, go ahead, Moses.
I'm
Yeah,
listening.
John.
Hello, I'm listening.
Yeah, John.
Go ahead, Moses. Ask the question quick. I gotta get John.
John, help us understand when you say Jimmy.
Oh, lower the monitor small. Just
Yeah,
lower it
it's too
small.
loud.
It's
Yeah,
too
it's too
loud.
loud. I think Volcano is not helping out. Let him go.
I mean, John, you know anything about technology and you want jumping issue room talk.
Go on the monitor.
We can bring the man in the studio if he wants
Hold
to
on,
have
hold
a
on, hold on, hold on,
conversation. We can
Volcano.
bring in the issues room. Yeah.
Hold on, let me lower it. Okay, I'll lower it.
But then,
I'll lower it.
yeah, just lower it so you can be able to hear.
Okay.
Lower it.
All right, John. John, are you there, John?
Hello?
Do you hear me, John?
John, I said lower it. I didn't tell you turn it down completely because you need to hear Moses' question.
Okay, hold on 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, do you hear me, John?
okay. I'm there.
Okay, are you disputing that the CDC purchased 150 pickups for their partisans?
Yes.
Are you
Are
disputing
you
that?
disputing that the CDC purchased 150,000 pickups? John,
No, 150. 150.
150. I meant to say 150. Are you disputing that the CDC purchased 150 pickups?
No, I'm not disputing that.
Okay.
Okay, so you agree that it did happen, right?
I'm disputing it.
What is he saying?
You
Of
disputing
course,
what?
yes.
You
The
disputing
party
what?
did.
Huh?
My question to you was:
Yeah,
did
yeah,
you
he
dispute that
agreed.
the party purchased
He
150
can't hear you.
figures?
John,
My man go
I mean,
Volcano.
John, you can't fight for the CDC, then you got no boxing glove.
What I'm saying, I got sufficient boxing glove. I got
Okay, but then
sufficient.
talk, talk.
Let John go to
I
bed.
don't have anything to provide. I told
Well,
you no. I told you the CD. I say I'm aware of the CDC purchase of 150 pickups.
Okay,
okay, good. If you are aware of the 150 figures, are you also aware of
Yes,
the 30 motorbikes that were taken to
yes.
Nima
say yes.
County?
You say yes.
Okay. Uh, are you telling us that the money that was
I got
used
sufficient
belongs?
boxing glove.
You say what? Yeah. Are you there?
Moses, just go ahead. I'll read.
Okay.
Yeah,
The CDC administer the affairs of Liberia, and the CDC has a history. Even your party chairman himself said it, that the CDC, including Mr. Weir,
Moses, that's a political party.
listen to me, my man. Let me talk. Let me educate you. And uh,
my man,
your
listen,
own party
John,
chairman.
Moses, let's do
Yeah,
this. I don't want
yeah,
to make this
yeah.
boring. John,
Let him go.
John,
Let him go, man.
Donka,
He wasting
Yeah, I'm
our time.
listening.
listen to me.
No, my
Listen to
man, no
me.
name.
Hold on, Moses. Let me do this quick. We're gonna have a show why President Weir should be elected
Or
or why
not.
not. We'll send you an invitation to come here, okay?
Okay, I'll be ready.
Yeah, please let's do that because I want you to be a part of the conversation.
I
Yeah.
come to this. I come to diminish the myth.
Okay, all right. We
If
want
there
to
was
make
a
sure
diminish the myth.
all your gloves, like I said, make sure they wrap your hand good because they're gonna
I'm
be a
coming.
fight.
Invite me.
Yeah.
I will be available.
All right,
I will
so
be
we'll,
available.
we'll do
So
that. Yeah.
John, what do you call diminish the myth?
So he's gone. Let's
Like
do
John,
that.
we are brother.
But let's go back to what type of country is this? Johnson Gonga News says
Yeah.
when the only government hospital in Grand Crew only has 300 pieces of paracetamol left in the pharmacy.
Living the family.
John, you care to hear about the thing.
No, John doesn't want to hear that. All he wants to say, people are against the ruling government, but the ruling government is underperforming.
But let's
It's
make the point here
underperforming.
where he's saying that the CDC got their own money.
That's not
CDC
true.
got money for real, John.
Where did they get the money from?
CDC government came to power, and now all the associates within CDC, the lieutenants, and all have gotten rich. John, where were you when all of you were walking with Don't Leave Me This Way as seditious? Where were
Moba
you?
Molu there, George, we are there.
The Diamond Molu said it.
Yeah, Moba Molu said, I know somebody. Whenever conventions were held in the United States, I have a very good friend and brother, Joshua Brown. He's one of those who used to pay for Mr. Weir's hotel.
Shaggy McAfee said he wants to come in the issue where if we send it John a link, he needs one too as well.
Yeah, we get invited. Let we all talk.
Yeah. Shaggy,
Yeah.
you got an invitation. Send John want to come. But the thing here is, again, we're saying that, listen, it's not about President Weir. It's about our country. And who out here doesn't know that corruption
It's
is
uncontrollable.
pervasive?
Yeah, it's uncontrollable.
Okay, it's right there, all in the faces of the people. Who doesn't know?
It's all over the place.
Take away the government. Take away the government. Go in the private sector, the banking institutions. Go there. Go transact your honest deal. Your money you send, you go to collect it. People telling you no money, but find something that will go talk to the manager. Tell me.
Yeah. In fact, you said it many times.
Go to the hospital. They tell you say no drugs. But
the doctors say
I know one of the nurses there should have said sell a drug. It's cheaper than local pharmacy.
Yeah.
You can buy from
imagine?
but the drug they took from the hospital.
Yeah, from the hospital pharmacy, yeah.
The hospital dispensary, they took the drugs from there and then they're selling it back to patients.
Mm-hmm.
So you think when we say corruption, we playing here? The thing is ingrained.
Of course.
It's that bad.
You go for you to be admitted. Yeah, Volcano, you go to be admitted. The person who is doing the admission, the man say, "Oh my man, we don't have no slot." Then someone come and say, "Oh my man," the man say he got space for one person. You gotta get something. Isn't that dishonesty?
So Moses,
Yeah.
let's call it a night.
Yeah.
We will be here on Tuesday by the grace of God. I
Okay.
want to thank everybody
And
who showed up here.
and Volcano, please, man. I forgot. Let me say this. Tonight is the inaugural program of the Delaware Librarian Association in Newcastle, Delaware. Tomorrow there's gonna be a soccer match in the Dover area, and on Sunday there's gonna be a Thanksgiving service. Right now, as I speak to you, the program is taking place here in Newcastle. The former ambassador, Liberia's former ambassador to the United States, Parton, is the one who is the guest speaker tonight. As I leave from here, I'm headed to that event. Yeah. You see, Fedja said you just got there. So our people are having a great time. Yeah. Volcano, come and hang with your boys, my man.
No, man, I ain't got time to come over there tonight. But anyway, since you brought out, I'd just like to quickly remind folks that first, my church's reunion in the U.S., the Ever Baptist Church reunion, will be held in Atlanta, Georgia, between the 11th and the 13th. We're expected to bring the president and two of his officials. In fact, our former colleague from LBS, Joe Anderson.
Oh, he's the president, eh?
No, he's not the president. He's the chairman of the convention this year.
Okay.
In fact, he's playing host to me when I go in 2 weeks to Atlanta. So it's a 3-day affair. So we also want to remind the public that the Aja convention is in September.
Yeah.
The weekend of the 6th,
it starts from 14
to
16.
18.
Yeah.
14 to 18.
Yeah.
But it ends on the 17th, and people will be leaving on the Monday. So
Yeah.
just so people know that Aja will be changing the hem of leadership. Joe Mason has served 2 terms, and so there will be elections this year at the National Convention in Minnesota, where Joe is based, and Minnesota plays host to seeing the president from the
Retire.
region leaving office. So a lot of things will be happening this coming month.
September, yeah.
This month. And by the way, October 10th is the national elections in Liberia. The issues room will be in Liberia to cover the
attendance.
Well,
yeah, we'll bring you the news live.
Yeah. We want to thank you guys for being here with us tonight. Tyrone Marshall, thank you. Forja Moyu, Flomo Livingstone, everyone who showed up here tonight. Johnson Gonga Noon, Shaki McCaffey, Amar Freeman, John Harris. Good. You can show up. Again, we'll invite you to that topic. Why is weird to be considered for re-election or why not? And we'll have the pros and cons. Dr. Manneh Sumo, Tax Kani, thank you, everyone who showed up here tonight. Thomas Awachi, as usual, for all you do. Kowu, Gloria Voga Molba, Agnes Finda Samukai. Thank you to all of you. We say good night and have a wonderful night from the Issues Room, Philadelphia and Delaware.